polymorphism is a feature of Python to express different forms of a given function. For example, take type-based dispatch, which we studied in the previous session. The type-based dispatch is useful, but it is not necessary to use it always. Instead of that, we can use polymorphism property of the object-oriented concept. Now consider histogram function, which works with a given sentence. Here, this works for a given sentence to count the number of words appeared in that sentence. For example, S is a sentence passed to histogram function. D is the dictionary. It creates a object of dictionary here. And for C in S, for each word in S, that word is not available, then it assigns 1 to D of C. C is nothing but a given key. If the word is available in the dictionary, then it increments with the 1 by using D of C equal to D of C plus 1. Now, this works here for sentence or statement. If you call the same function with the lists, tuples or even dictionaries, it works in the similar way. For example, T equal to spam, egg, spam, bacon, spam. Now, histogram T, which transfers list to histogram function, which counts the word appeared in the list as bacon 1, egg 1 and spam 4. Thus, functions that work with several types are called polymorphic. Now, polymorphic can use for code reuse. Polymorphism is used for code reuse. For example, the built-in function sum, which adds given operands or which adds the elements of the sequence. Now here, you can also use this for adding different objects in the sequence. If you given elements of sequence as object, then some function adds with those elements and stores the result with to the total. Now take T1 equal to time, T2 equal to time, T3 equal to time object. Total equal to sum of T1, T2, T3 gives the total of the object in this way. Now we see how it can be implemented in the Jupyter. See how this function is called, that we see first. That is, T1 is created here with the class time and T2 also a time object, T3 also a time object. Total equal to sum of T1, T2, T3. When the total function is called with the T1 sum function, total is called with the sum function, then radd, define radd method is called. This radd method is nothing but a type based dispatch which just swaps the first left and right operand here and calls add function. That is nothing but right sided add is nothing but it takes right sided operand as object and left sided operand as integer. Then it swaps, means now what happens, the object will be the left sided operand and integer will be right sided operand, and then the object will be self and other will be integer. Thus it checks, thus it calls self.add as a function call with the other as a object. Whatever other you transferred, now it is integer but self is a object. Add method which already implemented here, which calls self.add time function. But before calling add time function, it checks if the other is instance of time. if other is instance of time, then it calls add time with the other. If other is not instance of time, then it calls increment function. For example, if other is an integer, it calls increment function. When add function called with the instance, with the instance of object, then it transfers other as the object by calling add time function with the self. Otherwise, if other is a integer, it calls increment function. You know that add time function works for both the object and it converts time to integer. The both object is converted into integer and added, and result is stored in the sequence. Now, whatever result is stored in the sequence, it will be converted into once again time, and result is returned. Time object is returned. You know that into to time is conversion of integer to time. Conversion of integer to time is done as this. The minutes and time dot second are two variables which have divided answer and modulus divided answer. The divided answer is quotient stored to minutes and modulus division answer is stored to seconds. Now, time dot hour and time dot minutes are once again two variables which holds the result of division and modulus division. The answer of division is nothing but dividing the minutes by 60 and stored to hour, and the remainder is stored in the time dot minutes. Thus, the conversion of integer to time happens. The conversion of integer to the conversion of integer to time is happens by using into to time. Okay, and thus the integer to time conversion is nothing but returning the time object to called function. You know that into to time function is called from here and time object is returned, and anyhow this increment function is called from add time add function if the one of the operand is the integer. Either increment function is called when one of the operand is integer, or when both the operands are objects, then the add time function is called. Okay, the increment function is called when one of the operand is integer, but add time function is called when both of the operands are objects, when both of the operands are object. Now, if you see add time function, you can see here addition of both the time by converting time to integer and storing the result in the sequence. And now that sequence will be once again converted to time here by using into to time function. Thus, the addition of both the object or addition of three object or addition of object and operand will be resulted in the polymorphic way. Okay, now if you try to run, you can get this output. Now, for example, if you try to run it without using a defined function, for example, if I make this comment, if I comment this by using multi-line comment, and then commenting this by using multi-line comment is nothing but you have to add 3 single quote, and I am going to close 3 single quote here. Indicates there is no overloaded functions and it is just having this calling with the sum as inbuilt function. Now, if you try to run, now it gives polymorphic function call is not supporting a plus. Okay, thus it is not supporting, indicates you have commented Now you remove this comment line from here, okay, and keep those functions as it is as we given at the beginning. Okay. Now if you try to run this, you get the normal output. Indicates the addition of objects also requires these are all functions, add time functions, which is nothing but the polymorphic feature of the object oriented concept is justified. Even though these T1, T2, T3 are objects in the sum function, it calls the radd method, and then radd method is calling the add method. Now the radd method will be called if right sided operand is the non-object, if it is non-object. When all three objects, when all three operands are object, then it directly calls add method. It won't calls radd. Okay. Now for example, if you give here another operand 45 as an integer, and if you try to run this, then also it is working. See, indicates right sided operand is integer, and if you give two operands as integer here, and if you try to add with the object, then also it is working. Okay. Now if you give all three operands as integer, then it takes normal addition of list items and it shows the 199 as the result. Okay, but this is actually overloaded with the object T1, and if you give second object as T2 here and with one of the integer and run, then also it works. It adds 7 and 45 as the integer, and if you increase this integer to more number of values, and if you try to see the output, you can see. Okay, thus 1700 will be the second whatever you are giving. Okay, it adds a T1 time with the 743, T2 time with 737, and T3 time, T2 time with 741 and 1700 as seconds. Thus any operand can be any type, either object or integer. Polymorphism supports here. Okay, polymorphism method is supported, which is a great feature of the object oriented concept. You can also add T1, T3, T2, and you can run. Okay, in this way. Okay, this the polymorphism is justified. Polymorphism function or property of object oriented concept is justified.